The Grey Dawn Institute had been abandoned for 32 years, but the building still stood like a scar on the edge of the city. Tall, silent, and rotting from the inside. When Dr. Elias Ward received the anonymous message telling him to return, he almost deleted it. "You left something behind. Come back before it wakes." He hadn't stepped inside Grey Dawn since he was a teenager. Back then, it had been a psychiatric facility. Cold halls, locked rooms, patients who whispered to the walls. Elias had been one of them, a child with night terrors so severe he couldn't sleep without screaming. But he had forgotten most of it. Or maybe he had forced himself to forget. Now, standing in front of the rusted gates, he felt the memories clawing at the back of his mind. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of mold and dust. The building loomed over him, its windows black and empty. He stepped inside. The entrance hall was exactly as he remembered. Long, narrow, lined with peeling wallpaper and flickering lights that shouldn't have been working. His footsteps echoed unnaturally loud. Then he heard it, a whisper. "Elias." He froze. The voice was soft, familiar, almost gentle. He turned, but the hall was empty. He walked deeper into the building, passing rooms he vaguely remembered. Therapy rooms, observation chambers. The long corridor where the patients used to stand at night, staring at the walls. He reached the old children's ward. The door was open. Inside, the beds were still in place, covered in dust. Toys lay scattered on the floor. And on the far wall, written in something dark and dried, were the words, "You never left." Elias stepped back, heart pounding. Then he saw it. A figure standing at the end of the corridor, small, thin, head tilted, a child. The child whispered, "Welcome back." And the lights went out. Elias woke on the floor, disoriented. The corridor was dark except for a faint glow coming from room 27, his old room. He didn't want to go inside. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but something pulled him forward. The door creaked open. Inside, the room was untouched by time. The bed was neatly made, the walls were clean, and on the pillow lay a small wooden box. His box, the one he had kept as a child. He opened it with trembling hands. Inside was a drawing of him, standing in the corridor, with a shadow behind him. Elias dropped the paper. The temperature in the room plummeted. Frost spread across the walls. He heard breathing behind him, slow, heavy, wrong. He turned. The child stood in the corner. But now Elias could see its face. It wasn't a child. Its eyes were hollow. Its skin stretched thin. Its mouth too wide, filled with teeth that didn't belong in a human jaw. It whispered, "You promised you'd stay." Elias stumbled backward. "I don't know you." The creature tilted its head. "You knew us all. We whispered to you every night. We kept you awake. We fed on your fear." Elias shook his head. "I was sick. I imagined things." The creature stepped closer. "You didn't imagine us. You invited us." The lights flickered violently. The walls shook. The floor cracked. Dozens of whispers filled the room. "Elias! Elias! Elias!" He ran out of the room, down the corridor, through the hallways. But the building shifted around him. Doors moved, walls stretched. The institute was alive, and it wanted him back. Elias reached the stairwell leading to the lower ward, the underground section that had been sealed after the final incident. He remembered the screams, the alarms, the staff running, the children crying. He remembered being dragged away. He remembered something else, too. A voice calling his name from the darkness. Now the door to the lower ward was open. He stepped inside. The air was freezing. The lights flickered weakly. The walls were covered in scratches. Long, deep marks made by something desperate to escape. He walked deeper. Whispers followed him. Some were angry. Some were pleading, some were crying. He reached the old therapy chamber, the one where they had tried to treat his night terrors. The door was half open. Inside, the chair still sat in the center of the room, straps hanging loosely. And sitting in the chair was a woman. Her head hung low, her hair covered her face. Her hands were tied. Elias whispered, "Hello?" The woman lifted her head slowly. It was his mother. But she had died years ago. Her eyes were black, her skin pale. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "You left me here." Elias shook his head. "No, you weren't here." "You were home, you—" she screamed, a sound that shook the walls. The shadows behind her rose like smoke, forming shapes. Children, adults, twisted figures with hollow eyes. They whispered in unison, "You brought us here. You fed us. You opened the door." Elias stumbled backward. "I was a child. I didn't know what I was doing." The shadows surged forward. His mother whispered, "You do now." Elias ran through the lower ward, chased by shadows that moved like liquid darkness. The building groaned, walls bending, floors cracking. He reached the main corridor, the whispering corridor, the place where the voices had first spoken to him as a child. The lights flickered. The corridor stretched endlessly. Figures lined the walls. Patients, children, staff, all hollow, all watching. Elias screamed, "What do you want from me?" The corridor answered, "You." The shadows formed a single shape, tall, twisted, shifting like smoke. The creature stepped forward. "We were trapped here," it whispered. "You were the only one who could hear us. You opened the way. You let us in." Elias shook his head. "I didn't know. You do now." The creature reached out. The walls pulsed. The lights exploded. Elias felt the ground open beneath him. He fell into darkness. When he opened his eyes, he was standing in the corridor again. But now the walls were clean. The lights steady, the building silent. He walked to the exit. The doors opened. He stepped outside. The institute stood behind him, quiet and still. But as he walked away, he heard it, a whisper.